Good morning and welcome to Get Real America.
Hump Day. I'm Bill Edwards.
I'm Brittany Brown.
Glad to have you aboard here. 12th day of July, almost halfway through the month of July.
Yes, and nothing but fun here in Chatham County.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. We can complain about the weather or anything else, but when you see what's happening up in Vermont and places like that where they are at periscope depth, I mean, it's unbelievable. So our prayers are with them, and anybody who wants to help out and volunteer, they have websites to do that.
Yes, and that's what happens when you have a good winter. I really don't think it has anything to do with climate change.
No.
I just think, being from Utah, we had really good years with the snow. And for us, it was super important because we live in a desert, and that's how we would be able to, do our crops and stuff out there.
Well, I was amused because Janice Dean this morning on Fox was saying that, this is the worst they've had flooding since 2011 when they had that big storm come through. And she said, and before that, it was in the 1922 or something along those lines. I was like, okay, that was long before climate change and global warming and all of that stuff, or gasoline cars or something.
It's amazing how
there
it
were a
works
few
out,
gasoline cars in those days, but still unbelievable. So, but our prayers are with those folks.
Yes, and nothing goes without saying that Beth Madroni has been all over the news.
Yeah, except here.
Yes.
And us.
Yes.
But one of our wonderful pillars of the community who have been fighting for rights in the schools and to get dirty books out of schools. She has suddenly made at least national news, even though the local media seems to be ignoring her, with us, of course, being the exception.
Yes, well, I don't think that there's going to be, I don't think they're going to be able to refute I think that the storm is brewing. I think that it's coming. I think that they're not going to be able to ignore what's going on.
So if you're not familiar, Beth was actually physically removed from a meeting of the election board a couple of days ago.
Yes, and very forceful, and it was very degrading the way they removed her. She was in a dress. She, a small-statured woman, and they carried her out by her feet and hands. So.
Yeah, maybe they thought she had a black belt or something, so that might have been just taking precautions.
Yeah,
but she was interviewed with several national medias yesterday, including Steve Bannon, who had her on yesterday, and here's how it went.
Before I got up there, and my point when I got up there was, yes, these machines need to go. We need paper ballots. We need to get rid of the Dominion machines, but we even have a bigger issue here in Chatham County that many of you may not be aware of. And I proceeded to say that I had taken the supervisor of elections before a grand jury in February. I was actually told I was the first citizen to ever go in front of a grand jury. It's usually the prosecuting attorneys, but anyway, I was the first citizen to go in front of the grand jury, I think, in Chatham County ever. And I brought the supervisor of elections in front of the grand jury for violation of his oath of office, alleged violation of his oath of office, and for voting irregularities and falsifying documents that I had received during the open records process related to the primary of 2022, May 24.
Okay, there's a lot to unpack here. I want to go back, and as soon as Memphis, if we get the clip, I want to show it because I think it was so shocking. And of course, Ms. Taylor, who ran for governor, has been adamant about this. And you're backed up by, I guess it's the Haldeman report has come out, and now is part of the documentation about this is not Beth Madroni being some screaming wild woman. This is actually backed up in documents that are coming forward, reports that are coming forward that talk about the vulnerability of the machine. And people know I'm not a machine guy. I'm still, hey, they stole it by the mail-in ballots. But I do know, and I know talking to sophisticated hedge fund people and former colleagues of mine in investment banking that finance technology who are Democrats, who are not Trump people at all. When they
Exactly.
look at the machines, they go, these machines are way too complicated. These should be like, if you're going to use machines at all, it should be as simple as money counters are in Vegas. These things are way too programmable. They're way too sophisticated. They're too complicated for the task at hand. I have Democrats saying that. You've got these reports out. A citizen should be able to do it. So you took this guy to the grand jury. Now, that's a whole process of a citizen actually going to a grand jury and bringing somebody before it. And this occurred earlier in the year. And he used that as an excuse why you couldn't address the commission last night.
That was what I heard afterwards. And actually, after the grand jury or after I testified for 2.5 hours with all my evidence, like a ream of evidence and taped calls and everything in front of the grand jury subcommittee in February, the Board of Elections supervisor who was there last night and some of his staff, who I had suggested needed to be subpoenaed, did go in front of the grand jury, and they were deposed. And as a result of their depositions, the grand jury did decide that perhaps it was a misunderstanding on Miss Mazzaroni's point about the falsified document, but I actually have more evidence on that, but that's another story for another day. And then they did say that I should be entitled to two things. One of the things that Mr. Wooten was supposed to get me that he should have given with my earlier open records request was the ballot custody documents. He said it during the grand jury deposition that he did not give me all of that. So I was supposed to get that immediately after March 1st. And then I was also supposed to get QR code information on what's contained in the QR code, because Georgia has the scanners that read the QR code, which is why we're really upset. I mean, Dominion machine, but it's illegal in Georgia to have anything on our ballots that the voter can't read. And so we have everything supposedly that we voted for that's printed out before we go to the scanner, but then there's a QR code, and nobody knows what that QR code really says, and that's what gets recorded as our ballot. So there you go.
Okay, hang on. I want to play. By the way, let me play this. I think Memphis has a clip now. Let's go ahead and play the clip of her trying to address, I guess, the Board of Elections last night. Let's go ahead and play it.
Allow her to speak. Get your hands off of her.
Okay.
I just want to help.
National news.
Get your hands off of her.
Yeah, get it. Lots of time. These are the people that are not following the law.
Wrong. So wrong. This is so wrong.
Excuse me.
She has a right to speak.
Excuse me. I'd like to hear what he has to say. Let's hear what he has to say as to why I'm filmed, because I'm filmed. Hey. Oh!
Back up right now.
I'm not on here.
I just want to help. Like, I don't want
No! Oh my God. Unbelievable. This is unbelievable.
What's so shocking, you had to protect your own modesty there. I mean, you were manhandled. That is what happens in fascist society. No, but it's... If you hadn't done it, I mean...
It was awful.
This is so incomprehensible that in a public forum, and the audience was with you to let you speak, that you were manhandled by authorities. This is what happens, and this is the road to fascism right there. When those supervisors can have strong-arm police come in and basically sweep away a citizen just trying to get to the microphone and address it. Walk us through it, Beth.
It was when I started talking about, when I mentioned grand jury, they got very uncomfortable with my bringing up that topic. And what I've found is that so many people don't understand the grand jury process that I've had to learn over the past year with the help of some friends. And the fact that the only part of grand jury that is secret is the deliberations. If you look at the oath of office for the jurors, it's their deliberations, which are secret, even from the DA or the judge attending. And so I could speak to anything as long as it's related to process or a recommendation from the grand jury or their conclusions. And that's all I was doing, was taking the presentment that was given by the foreman of that grand jury to the judge at the end of their term. I took that presentment that was provided to me by our Soros DA in Chatham and actually just used language out of there so that I was sure it was factual. And then the ultimate thing at the end of my speech was, which I never got to say, is it's been over 4 months. And my question is, do I need to take you back to the grand jury to get what I'm supposed to legally have from you?
History is made by unreasonable women, right? Fighters who are not going to back down. I take it you're not going to back down for this no matter what they try to do to you?
I am not backing down. I have spoken at the school boards as well here in Chatham County. I've probably made 18 school board speeches on everything from getting rid of masks to CRT to SEL to I'm a regular speaker, but I pride myself on always being respectful, having my facts. And that's the way I was yesterday. My usual calm demeanor, just the facts, ma'am. And I was totally caught off guard. I was pushed down to the floor. I'm sore today from the whole experience. It was tough and very demeaning.
Did you ever?
I didn't deserve that.
No. They wanted it to be demeaning. That's what I'm saying. If you hadn't protected yourself with your modesty, they wanted it to be demeaning. They wanted that meme to go everywhere. They want to show the citizens there at the homes and that understand things are wrong, that if you stand up and question this is what's going to happen to you. You're going to be humiliated in front of the world, and we're going to make sure the video goes everywhere. You're actually a hero and a patriot, and you're inspiring people, so it backfired on them. Where do you go from here on this in this topic, man? Because Spalding County is going to vote tonight on the machines, and you're seeing a firestorm across this country coming. People are fed up with it. They got to have it. They have to have election integrity. We have to understand that these elections are about certifiable chain of custody, verifiable legal ballots from American citizens. That's what it is, and that's why you've seen this big movement for paper ballots and game day voting. Where do you go from here on this, Beth?
We have a very large contingency in the state, and of course Candace is helping us there, Candace Taylor. And then locally we have we were able to get totally new leadership, grassroots leadership in our Republican Party here. And so we're working on election integrity through our new leadership in the Republican Party in Chatham County. So we are not going to back down, and I'm going to continue to pursue to get what I'm legally able to have from the Board of Elections, and I won't be silenced.
Beth, how did people get to you on social media? Or website? Where do people go to find out more about you and your fight?
At Liz Mazzaroni is my Twitter handle.
Okay, fine. Let's get her on Twitter. Liz, it's inspirational. This is like a shot heard around the world.
There you go.
Yes, gotta love Beth. And just a quick update. I was able to obtain the report from the grand jury that she was talking about. Mm-hmm. So the Board of Elections was wrong. They said that it was proprietary information. It was not. It is public information. So she was silent for no reason. And the other thing that I wanted to give a quick update on is that the County of Spalding did have their meeting last night. They are going to have a special meeting. They did table it for a special meeting to happen in the next couple weeks to vote on the machines. Of course, the county attorney said she advised them not to do this. But
all the more reason to.
Yes,
sounds
but
to me like.
Yes, but every single one of their representatives on that board said that they did not like the Dominion machines, which I think is a positive thing. Mm-hmm. So I think hopefully they are ready to fight the battle with the Secretary of State's office.
Let's hope so.
But wanted to give you a quick update on that because this will be a very big deal in Georgia if Spalding County can pull this off.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and coming up, the Republicans in Georgia have a new member who switched over from the Democrats.
Very exciting.
Yeah. We'll talk about that next. Stay real.
serving the Savannah area with the power of the Shield since 1934, with personal insurance, employee benefits, and business insurance. With integrity, security, and trust. For more information, go to thepoweroftheshield.com.
Come join us today at Sweet Potatoes Kitchen for some of that good Southern home cooking, like fried chicken, fish, and mouth-watering banana pudding. Say it's the best in the world, and you won't get an argument from me. Also, those vegetables are fresh and delicious. Voted Southside's best restaurant in Savannah at least 5 times, and large corporate parties are welcome. Tell them Bill Edwards sent you. Drop by and eat today. Everybody loves sweet potatoes.
Welcome back to Get Real America.
I'm Bill Edwards.
I'm Brittany Brown.
Glad to have you aboard this morning. Before we
Yes.
get to the new member of the Republican Party, I misread a headline this morning that I thought was thought was really good at Tybee Island. That they said Tybee Island leaders urge drivers not to drink and drive after 11. Now, it broke into another sentence on the next stop, so I'm figuring, if you drink and drive before 11, that's fine. Actually, they were saying don't drink and drive because of 11 DUI arrests over the holiday weekend. But at the same time, why is it? But the story goes on to say that they would prefer that Tybee Islanders are pleased to announce or pledging to anyone to not to drive while intoxicated. Oh, this is something new.
It's been against the law since I've been aware of it.
This is a story that they won't cover. They haven't covered the Beth Maggiorni story, but they don't drink and drive. Apparently, is got a big one for them.
Yes, and I want to catch up on some comments we have this morning.
Please.
Steve Staton says John Kerry is basking in this weather. Did you know that he served in Vietnam?
Yeah, it's a matter of old bolt neck. Yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And then he says, I saw Beth on Twitter yesterday. And Lizzie Warren says, the term video viral would apply to the video of Tom Mahoney having her physically thrown out. And then Steve says, shame on Georgia and Chatham County. Mm-hmm. And Lizzie Warren says they were just following orders. And Steve says, read Ayn Rand Road to Serfdom.
Okay.
And Heather Bilton.
She wrote Atlas Shrugged and all that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then Heather Bilton says, Beth is so sharp. I 100% agree with you. Mm-hmm. And then Steve says, don't count on Buddy Carter to help. He will just give you a canned response. Nobody is above the law. And Lizzie Warren says,
unless you're a Democrat.
Yes. Well, so Beth was right about the information being available to the public. That means Billy Wooten, our election supervisor, did in fact ignore the edicts of the grand jury. He can't say he is too busy because they just hosted a summer camp on Saturday. Perhaps he should have complied with the grand jury before planning Saturday events with kids. Well, that's interesting information, isn't it?
It really is.
Why are they having summer camps at the Board of Elections?
I'm not really sure,
It's
but
very interesting.
to teach
Tax
kids how to
money.
vote.
Well, that's our tax money at work, isn't it?
Yeah, there you go. But didn't we hear that at the Nuremberg trials? I was just following orders.
Yes.
We killed 6 million people. I was just following orders.
I was just doing what I was told.
Yeah, it's nothing to it. Of course,
Yeah.
we hung them. Back in those days, we actually got serious about it. We hung them.
Well, and there was a quite heated debate that I had with a couple of people of, if I was a police officer, I would have done the same thing. They're being told what to do. And I said, I don't know. You're a man. Would you have handled a woman that way, especially a woman in a dress? Mm-hmm. And they said no. I said, exactly. I said, there was a more tactful way they could have done it. And they were wrong.
Yeah.
The Board of Elections was wrong. It is plain and simple. I'm looking forward to their statement that they are supposedly releasing. So we'll have that for you as soon as we get it.
And frankly, you may not, for those of you who don't know Beth or haven't seen her in person, I've seen bigger 8th graders.
Yes.
She's
a very tiny person.
She's very petite. But that doesn't. But she got fire in the belly. That's for damn sure.
Yes.
Good for her.
Yes.
Well, there's a new Republican member of the Georgia state legislature.
I was so happy to see this yesterday. I did see her and Josh McCoon together, who is the new GOP chair of Georgia. And yeah, she's had enough of the Democrat Party.
Yep. She said, "That's it. I'm out of here."
The two biggest issues have got to be school choice, which is what you're standing up for here, and law and order and safety and security in every town and every city, because that's not happening in minority neighborhoods all across the country, and they've been run by Democrats for decades. I'd like to know your thoughts.
I absolutely agree with you, Sean. The two things that I have actually run on in my district in Atlanta is education and public safety. It doesn't matter what part of my district that people are in, parents are asking for choices. Right now, there's schools that only 3% of children are meeting proficiency. That's not acceptable. The option that the Democrats are giving is keep them there until we fix it. We'll get it better soon. But it's been like that for 50 years. That's not acceptable. I didn't vote for it. The other thing, to your point, public safety. The Democrats wanted to defund the police. I was on Twitter with one of my former colleagues the other day, and she said, I never voted not to defund the police, and some constituents brought up her vote and said, this is the vote that you did. So we need to make some changes, and I'm happy to do so.
Way to go, Misha Maynard.
Yeah, I think that we're seeing the shift happen. It's not happening as fast as I would like to see it, but we are having significant wins. And I do think that the pushback is there. And the fact that she's in the Atlanta area and she's switching over to be a Republican, she doesn't think it's going to hurt her. I mean, that's a big deal.
No, in fact, it's not going to hurt her because the people are fed up there as well. And it goes back to what she said about one of her former colleagues said, I didn't vote to defund the police. And a lot of others wrote in and said, oh, yes, you did. Here's the legislation. Here's how you voted for it, which indicates either she didn't understand the legislation. It was one of those riders that was tagged on someplace, and she didn't bother to read it. Sometimes you look around and said, how in the world could they have passed something like this? And it's because of these stupid riders. The legislation ought to be for one specific area and not have a lot of other attachments onto it as well, where the guy says, you scratch my back and I'll scratch yours, as the old saying goes.
Yeah, well, and I think her two big issues were public safety and school choice. And the funny thing is that Democrats argue against school choice. They say it'll damage the public schools. And it's like, well, you're kind of making our argument for us because any rational parent would not send their kid to a failing public school. They would rather have a choice, but also in the numbers, when you make things competitive, 80% of parents keep their kids in schools, in public schools, because there's competition and, they have to perform. Competition
makes people perform better.
Sure does.
If it weren't for competition, there'd be one cereal, oatmeal. We wouldn't have color television. In fact, we might not even have television.
That's true.
If you just keep on doing the same thing over and over. If you didn't have competition makes people perform better. If you go to Georgia, when Georgia plays Georgia in the spring game, maybe 30,000, 40,000 people show up. I guess because they want, just because they're football fans and they want to see who's coming up. But when Georgia plays Alabama, you can beg, borrow, or steal a ticket, because that's where the rubber meets the road. It is the competition that makes people perform better.
Well, I think it's like the main driver of human nature. Isn't
Exactly.
It? And we're taking a lot of that competition out of everything.
Yeah.
I think we're seeing more big box stores, more. I was talking to someone who actually knows an architect in this area, and they were talking about how the buildings being built are not. They're not works of art like they used to be. And I think that that's really interesting. I was downtown yesterday walking around, and the Coast Guard building, that is an eyesore. It looks like bathroom tile. It's horrible. And it doesn't fit in with Savannah at all.
Yeah, well, we put up the federal building that was built some years ago, and they said they were going to go by all the codes, but they're the feds, so what do they care?
Yeah.
They put this thing up. It looks like a shower stall.
Yeah, it was. It's not a beautiful building.
Now they're trying to tear it down and build something else.
Well, because it's just tax money, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, when you're spending somebody else's money, you don't care how much you spend.
Yeah, but I think you're also seeing them take the beauty out of everything. We're seeing these homes go up that all look identical. There's no character to them, and it's just interesting when you start thinking about just kind of why they would do that. When you take beauty out of everything, then what matters?
Yeah, my wife and I live in a neighborhood that was built back in the late '60s, and none of the houses look alike.
I love that.
We've got plenty of yard space. We're not, we're not spitting distance next to our neighbors. There's room there. There's driveway. There's extra space. It's really, really nice. And the houses were built to last. They've got brick all the way around. It's not just a faux brick on the front and then
Aluminum siding.
or vinyl siding around the rest of the place. Nothing against vinyl siding. Those are in the vinyl siding business. Sorry, but I remember, apropos nothing, but my wife and I were out in Lost Wages a few years back, and we're driving about 60 miles out of town. We're driving, I think, going to Hoover Dam, and we passed. There was a huge billboard that showed this new subdivision, and every one of the houses again looked alike. They were all kind of a brown, kind of earth tones, so they were ugly.
Yep.
And there was no landscaping. Because in Nevada there ain't much to landscape.
Well, they do the desert scape or whatever it's
the
called.
desert scape, and it looked like it too. And it didn't look like they'd done a lot. And it said, and we're talking about this new subdivision, and it said, and the homes are starting at only $417,000.
Yep.
And I said, that's the first time I've ever seen only in $417,000 in the same sentence.
Yeah, it's out west. It's much more expensive to live, but
no kidding.
Well, I was downtown yesterday, and Broughton Street, they've put a heck of a lot of money into it. And I will tell you what, the plants are dying in the planters.
Mm-hmm.
They're below level. So, and they've already tore it up once. I'm very disappointed on how that worked out.
But civic pride is something that we don't seem to be very concerned about. When you drive you go down to Florida, you're driving into Daytona Beach, for example. There's a huge sign across one of the overpasses, welcome to Daytona Beach, and there are palm trees planted on the overpass, and they're not dying. They look great. The clover leaves and everything coming off the interstate and all, they're planted. The lawn is cut. The grass is cut. They look beautiful. And you come into Savannah, and what do you see?
Yeah.
And you go down Truman Parkway. There is trash everywhere.
Yeah, it's very frustrating. And like I said, they've spent a lot of money on Broughton Street.
Boy, did they ever.
And
it was torn up for a long time. But the pandemic didn't help, of course.
Yeah, I'll have to take some pictures when I'm down there next time.
Yeah,
but
please do.
I was very disappointed with how bad it looked, especially since I know how much money they spent. But when we get back, we'll be talking about Republicans actually released a video that I was kind of surprised about. So we'll be looking at that when we get back.
At Get Real America, we want to make sure that the real story gets out, and you can help us as a sponsor or as an advertiser to make sure that word does get out to the community.
Be a sponsor and support your local community here at Get Real America. Drew, I didn't think this was supposed to be a serious show.
When I grow up, I want to work for a woke company, like super woke.
When I grow up,
I want to be hired based on what I look like rather than my skills.
I want to be judged
By my political beliefs, I want to get promoted
based on my chromosomes. When I grow up, I want to be offended
by my coworkers
and walk around the office
on eggshells
and have my words policed
by HR. Words like
grandfather,
peanut gallery,
long time no see,
no can do.
When I grow up,
I want to be obsessed with emotional safety and do workplace sensitivity training all day long. When I grow up, I want to climb the corporate ladder.
Just by following the crowd.
I want to be a conformist. I want to weaponize my pronouns. What are pronouns?
It's time to grow up and get back to work. Introducing the #1 woke-free job board in America, redballoon.work.
Come join us today at Sweet Potatoes Kitchen for some of that good Southern home cooking, like fried chicken, fish, and mouth-watering banana pudding. Say it's the best in the world, and you won't get an argument from me. Also, those vegetables are fresh and delicious. Voted Southside's best restaurant in Savannah at least 5 times, and large corporate parties are welcome. Tell them Bill Edwards sent you. Drop by and eat today. Everybody loves sweet potatoes.
Serving the Savannah area with the power of the Shield since 1934, with personal insurance, employee benefits, and business insurance, with integrity, security, and trust. For more information, go to thepoweroftheshield.com.
Welcome back to Get Real America.
I'm Bill Edwards.
I'm Brittany Brown.
You know, sooner or later, the truth comes out.
Yes, it does, Bill. It sure does. And, you know, I've been disappointed in the Republicans. I think that we need more firebrand Republicans because I do think that we have people like Lindsey Graham who, I mean, I think that gives the brand of being a Republican a bad name.
Yeah. Hopefully it won't be the Wuhan lab that creates the backbone for them.
Yeah, hopefully not. But they did release a pretty powerful video about the human trafficking we're seeing. And I don't know if maybe they were inspired by the Sound of Freedom, but I was actually pretty moved by the video and surprised that they released it.
Yeah.
President Biden does not care about the fate of 300,000 plus unaccompanied children that have been placed with sponsors in the United States since he became president.
We're here today because the Biden administration has utterly failed. It has failed to secure the border, and it has encouraged parents to send their minor alien children on a dangerous trip to the United States unaccompanied. And it's failed to protect these children after they were let into the United States.
There's been a 357% increase regarding unaccompanied minors at our border. The policy choices of the Biden administration are creating an unending flow of children to this country.
It's a conveyor belt of children being forced through the system. And what's the priority of HHS? Just get them out as fast as we can. They go to factories, they go to slave labor. I've written to the FBI and asked the FBI, where are the 80,000 plus children this administration's lost? They don't know.
The New York Times illustrated that senior Biden administration officials like Secretary of Health and Human Services, Becerra, knew about this and continued to move children out of Health and Human Services as fast as possible by loosening vetting requirements for sponsors.
I have not received a response from the Secretary on what has happened to 85,000 children. The point is Secretary Becerra needs to come before us.
Every single person crossing the border now, if they want a good chance of surviving, have to pay a toll to the transnational criminal organizations. It was estimated that a year and a half ago, transnational criminal organizations were making $800 million a year in human trafficking.
You know, you can't help as a mama think about your own children. And if we, as leaders of the greatest nation in the world, are not fighting to protect the most vulnerable, we are not doing our job.
And let me be clear, even one child in the custody of human traffickers is horrific and wrong. But 127,000? This administration, no wonder Secretary Becerra is too scared to sit there. He should be embarrassed of that record.
This is obviously a family crossing right here. Pretty sad situation to think that we have laws that would protect us from this that are not being enforced.
HHS is responsible for them, and they can't find them. They don't know if they're dead or alive or trafficked or being worked.
Why on earth would you not try and take the safest path to get here legally? Why on earth wouldn't you stop at a safe third country and say, I have a difficult, dangerous situation in my country, I have documentation to prove it, and I'm applying for asylum? What's wrong with that?
We have incentivized the use of children in illegal immigration, and nothing will change until we change our policy.
How much more alarming does it have to get that we would have the White House administration standing up here with us, announcing the policies to improve it and announcing that we have a closed border?
The kids are in danger. The kids are in slavery. The kids are being exploited, and it should not happen in the United States of America.
Why in the world we would allow drug cartels to become rich off of our most vulnerable is beyond me. It's disgusting and it must stop.
We need to do better than this. We must do better than this. We must show that we care about the fate of these children by doing our jobs.
Are they running this ad?
Yeah, they're starting to. It just came out. It was released yesterday, I believe.
Well, sometimes, you know, the networks will refuse or stations will refuse to put those on.
Well, we're not going to.
Uh-huh.
I do think that the child trafficking is out of control, and this is this should not be a Republican issue. This should be a United States issue. Every person should be disgusted by the amount of human trafficking going on, especially when it comes to children. And, you know, I'm grateful for the Sound of Freedom coming out. I think that has been a good spotlight. I will say, heard yesterday that there were more AMC theaters that didn't have air conditioning for that movie. Amazing how that works.
Wow. That's almost like the HVAC system that wouldn't work with our Dominion machines up in Atlanta back in the last election when the lady walked in after they had set them up the night before, and these are, you know, they're temperature sensitive.
Yeah.
So they have to operate within a certain temperature range. And she walks in, and you could have hung meat in the place. And they call in the HVAC people and said, there's nothing wrong with the system. Somebody's cut the gas off. And all of a sudden there's a flood in one of the other polling places in Atlanta. And turns out that there was no flood. Somebody stuffed a couple of rolls of toilet paper into one of the toilets and it overflowed. You know, that happens at frat parties, for God's sake. So stopping the voting and it's amazing. I'm so old. When I was born, the Dead Sea was only sick. But at the same time, I can go back and remember all the way back to when Eisenhower was running for re-election. And I never, ever remember, that's not Eisenhower, by the way, I never, ever remember them stopping the voting at 9:30 at night and restarting the vote at 3 o'clock the next morning, and the person who was ahead by 100,000 votes at 9:30 was suddenly behind 200,000 votes at 3 in the morning. Never, but that's never mind the fact that this wasn't the most legal and honest and secure election in the history of America. And it goes back, Brittany, what we're talking about here. I've been getting some traction on my Facebook page using a quote of the day. I've been
Okay.
trying to put one up, a new one up every day.
Okay.
And there are plenty of quotes.
Yes, there are.
But the one I found yesterday from Leonardo da Vinci was, "He who does not punish evil commands it to be done." I rest my case.
Pretty powerful stuff when you see what's going on, and it just takes me right back to Beth. Like, what is going on in our own county? Like, people need to be outraged about what is happening. You need to get involved. These people have been operating without any oversight because the people have not been involved, and there is a lot of evil happening. So I think I'm hoping that people get involved and get outraged here in this county, because we have a lot of work to do here.
Yeah, I wonder when the television stations here are going to get the Beth Maggioni story.
Not real sure. Maybe we should call and talk to them.
Yeah, sooner or later they will. They'll show
They'll
you
have
something
to.
and talk about their exclusive coverage of something.
Yeah, of course. Well, and Bill, I've been seeing some pretty disgusting things, and one of those things is Disney seems to be involved in a whole lot of terrible programming.
That sound you're hearing is Walt Disney rolling over in his grave. He's spinning like a lathe these days.
Well, Hulu has teamed up with Disney and is, they have a new interesting cartoon series out for children. Let's take a look at
It's about a horse, isn't it?
Yeah, about a horse.
Yeah, it's about a horse.
It's morning again. The sun is shining. The goats are screaming. And I'm still here, despite the fact that last night I witnessed someone get ritualistically murdered by my dad's cult that I just inherited.
Oh, here we go.
What the? I'm Petey. I had it all. Mother!
Here.
What's this?
It's a message from your father.
It's me, your father. The community of New Utopia is all yours.
I just needed to figure out my place in my dead dad's weird town. I'm walking here.
The great daughter! She's arrived!
Welcome to New Utopia. I'm new to this being a cult leader thing. Thank you. But I was excited to get to work. Do you need this hammer?
Yeah, just put it between my pecs.
Ooh. Is this town doing okay?
Nah, we're starving.
You being here means the prophecy of the great daughter's return is fulfilled.
I'll make New Utopia normal. No more human sacrifice.
Tell me what to do!
I have a vision for New Utopia, and it is right!
Everyone is happy to have someone to mindlessly follow.
I love the leader, and the comet is coming!
Ha! You blinked. We need you here so the comet will return.
Oh, God. It's a space cult? Oh, of course. Boomers love space.
Disney is helping with that production, so.
Surely this is something to say how bad Utopia actually is. Sure, this has to be a joke.
Why would you ever create a cartoon like this?
Well, who would have ever had any kind of an imagination of this nature?
Not sure. It's pretty dark stuff. Pretty dark stuff.
Wow.
I don't even know what to say anymore, because you think you're going to be surprised by things. You're not going to be surprised by anything. But
I've quit asking that question. They've
what else
taken
they
it.
got?
They've taken it too much of a challenge.
Yes, and I was just shocked to see a cartoon about taking over a cult. It seems, and they keep trying to tell us that they're not grooming children, but also.
Oh, they're getting in so much trouble for it. We're here, we're queer, and we're coming for your children. And the networks, once again, have had to circle the wagons. Oh, they've said that for 20 years.
Oh, so you've been doing it for 20 years.
Yeah.
I think that's the bigger question. So you have been doing this for 20 years.
Yeah, there you go.
And we're now seeing just
We're seeing the results.
Exactly, and it's not good. It is not good. Well.
Coming up next.
Yeah, we'll be talking about what's going on in a small town in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
that's a kid. And another. Look, a gaggle of them. Or is it a herd? Litter? Pride. But what about her? Tell her she's not a kid. Or him. So how do we tell who is a kid? Height? Age, maybe. But some of us have to grow up faster than others. A kid. A kid. A kid wants to make the world better. And one day, he just might. Is a kid fearless? Vulnerable? Strong? Nervous? Yes. 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 Kiwanis is 600,000 kids at heart doing all the little and big things it takes to help children around the world. Because kids need Kiwanis. All of them.
Savannah, I'm coming home. Savannah, we'll never be alone. Savannah, the beauty of the world. Savannah, let's all take a walk. Savannah, I'm coming home. Savannah.
When you're looking to buy a business or sell a business, the experts at Best Business Brokers have you covered. Whether you're ready to cash in on your years of hard work or you're taking that first step in buying a business of your own, they're here to guide you through the process and make sure you get the best outcome possible. By having Best Business Brokers assist you when you buy a business or sell a business, they handle the legwork of the intricate process. This ensures a smooth transition of ownership, allowing you to get to work immediately or receive payment for your business as soon as possible. With base operations in Savannah and Charleston, they service all of Georgia and South Carolina. If you're considering starting a business here, the mild winters and 5-tiered economic areas make these the perfect places to do so. If you're ready to buy a business or sell a business, then you're ready to contact Best Business Brokers. Visit their website at b3brokers.com or call at 912-349-0940.
Serving the Savannah area with the power of the Shield since 1934, with personal insurance, employee benefits, and business insurance, with integrity, security, and trust. For more information, go to thepoweroftheshield.com.
Come join us today at Sweet Potatoes Kitchen for some of that good Southern home cooking, like fried chicken, fish, and mouth-watering banana pudding. Say it's the best in the world, and you won't get an argument from me. Also, those vegetables are fresh and delicious. Voted Southside's best restaurant in Savannah at least 5 times, and large corporate parties are welcome. Tell them Bill Edwards sent you. Drop by and eat today. Everybody loves sweet potatoes.
Welcome back to Get Real America.
I'm Bill Edwards.
I'm Brittany Brown.
Glad to have you aboard here on this Wednesday, hump day at 12th day of July already. Wow.
Yes, and today is the school board meeting. Remember, the budget meeting is at 11.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have an issue with them raising or not rolling back the millage rate and continuing to take more money, make sure you go to that.
But it's money well spent.
Depends on who you ask.
But I digress.
Yeah. And then
ask any school board member.
Exactly. And then at 2, they have their regular board meeting. So just be there or be square, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, that's right. Yeah, because you don't have anything else to do
at
at
2
2 o'clock in the afternoon, do you?
Yeah.
already
very
had
convenient
lunch.
for all of the voters.
Absolutely,
taxpayers.
yes,
Very
yes.
convenient.
The ones who are going to work to pay for all this.
Yes, and I want to catch up on some comments today. Steve Stanton says, "Great big welcome to Misha." Absolutely, we're excited to have her in the GOP.
This is the lady from the Democrat Party who's transitioned to a Republican.
Yes, we love those types of
She now
transitions.
identifies as a Republican.
I like those transitions.
Yeah, sirree.
Lizzie Warren says, "Savannah's a pretty woman with a dirty face." And
Yeah, there was a book about that, and it was written over 60 or 70 years ago.
Wow.
I remember our fourth grade teacher talking about it, and believe me, that's been a while.
And then, and Board of Elections showed us they do not want our input. That was the feeling from them on Monday. So
I can remember, Brittany, going to one of the meetings for the city council, and it was, we've already decided, we'll listen to what you say as long as it doesn't interfere with what we've already decided to do. And it was about telling businesses that you cannot have smoking in your establishment anymore.
ooh, that was a big one.
Oh yeah, and they were saying, people were saying, well, people don't have to come in here. If they don't like, some, secondhand smoke or whatever. In fact, Carrie Hilliard's, to their credit, had spent a lot of money on what they call smoke eaters. They would separate the smokers from one side of the room to the other, but they also they install these things that takes the smoke out of the air. That was very effective. So much for investing in all that stuff.
Yeah, very interesting. I believe I was in high school when that happened in Vegas.
Yeah.
It was the last time I'd ever been in a restaurant with smokers.
Some of these are cigar bars and there was a bar. I remember at the time we had a great radio show on the weekend called by Cigar Dave called Smoke This.
Oh.
And he did a great show on about different types of cigars, but all sorts of activities that go along with it. And he's talking about this bar up in Chicago that once the law was passed, their revenue went down 80%. Because people couldn't smoke cigars in there anymore.
Yep, that's the government picking winners and losers.
Yeah.
Well, some people picking winners and losers are, some citizens that are definitely sick and tired of the looting.
Yeah.
And
Are you for real? Are you for real? Are you for real? Are you for real?
Drop the bag. Leave it alone. Drop the bag, bro. All right. Let it go. Let it go. Yeah. Thank you.
I mean, he was very upset he couldn't steal that merchandise.
Yeah, darn it.
But I will say, I think people are just done. And the other thing that I think people are starting to put together is that when people steal things, prices go up. And I don't know if you noticed, but we're in an inflationary period with this lovely Biden administration that have been put in charge of everything to destroy it.
We used to think of fast food as economical. That was one of the reasons it became so popular.
Yeah.
Is that you could get a hamburger and a Coke and some French fries for at one point less than $1. But now you figure at least less than $5. They advertise things like that, little special deals that they have. My wife and I went into a place the other day that we like. I won't mention it was Five Guys, but we went in. We ordered hamburgers and we ordered the single patty, not the double patty, and French fries and 2 drinks. And when the guy said it was like $36, I almost lost it. I was like, what?
Yeah, it's gotten really expensive.
That was good.
Yeah.
I mean, we like Five Guys, but honest to goodness.
Well, you can't go to any fast food restaurant now without spending, $20, $30 for 2 people. It's ridiculous.
Exactly.
Carol Greenway is with us this morning, and she says, those are good points about the ugliness of Savannah. You would think the leaders would take more pride in the appearance with the huge emphasis on tourism. They certainly focus more on the tourists than residents. They allow an absurd amount of building, etc., with less and less parking and other services for the residents. Yes, I went downtown yesterday, and parking was a joke. Absolutely
Oh, yeah.
insane.
Yeah.
Insane. On a Wednesday.
Mhm.
Like, what's going on a Wednesday in Savannah?
Yeah.
Apparently everything. So,
Except it was a Tuesday.
oh, today's Wednesday.
Yeah.
Same thing. But Tuesday, Wednesday,
Tuesday,
Thursday, I don't
Wednesday,
expect a lot of
doesn't
traffic.
make any difference. Yeah, yeah. Sunday afternoon,
Yeah.
it's tough.
Yep. But anyways, thanks for joining us this morning, Carol.
Mhm.
And also Brian Hood is with us this morning. He just he put an emoji. So anyways, getting back to the fact that, we are living in a lawless society. The city of Portland is known for being just an oasis, isn't it, Bill?
Oh, yeah. Oh, paradise.
Yes.
Mhm.
And they have these new cameras in place. And I think it's just, to help the citizens, right?
Without a doubt.
Please look at camera for entry.
And if you stand on the shoes and look into the spheroid until you get the green light, that'll open the door for you.
Oh, stand on the shoes?
So
What?
Yes, they have to stand below this camera and look up. They can't have a face mask on and to be able to enter this business because of all of the looting and everything going on. But the policies in Portland have allowed this to happen. And, this is what happens when you allow, people to behave in a way that makes it normal. I mean, people literally just look at people that are stealing and it's just normal now. So they've had to put these cameras in order to protect their belongings in Portland.
But what about, shouldn't they be arrested for that?
Well, in Portland, they don't believe in arresting people that violate the law.
No, well, I'm talking about the people that actually are obeying the law that get arrested.
Oh.
I'm still appalled at the citizens who are the workers who are getting fired.
Oh, like at Lululemon in Atlanta.
Yeah, right. And then the cretin, the CEO comes on and tries to justify it and said, no, it's just stuff. Let people come in and just get stuff. Well, once again, going back to Da Vinci's quote that we talked about earlier, if you tolerate evil, it only commands it, more of it. And I don't know where. So if Leonardo da Vinci said it, it's not a new concept.
Right. We should be learning from things. It seems like we haven't figured that out yet.
Yeah. Leo's been gone for some time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very intelligent, though. Seems like he gave us a lot of wisdom that we're not following.
Yeah, boy. There's a lot of that.
Yes. Well, that's going to wrap it up for us today. Thanks so much for tuning in. Remember to catch us
Get your
on.
Trump burger.
Yes. Well.
Yeah. As we go out today, we're going to talk to you about the Trump burger.
Yes.
Come with me for lunch at the legendary Trump Burger. And I walked in and I was immediately taken back. It's really funny. I mean, Trump stuff everywhere. The whole menu is centered around Trump. It's really a fun place, man. And I mean, look at this. You got the Trump name on the bun, branded. This is a giant burger. It's 2 8-ounce patties and 4 slices of cheese. Wow. Trump Burger, I'm going to give it big thumbs up. It's in Belleville, Texas. You need to get your ass over here and get you a burger. I got the Trump Tower. It's a double meat. It's really big. Thumbs up.
I didn't think we had enough time for that clip, but just trying to keep things light and fun. I do think it's interesting when people design their whole business around one person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Seems to be working for them, though. Apparently it was delicious. Love to check it out.
If it works, it works. So whatever, nothing succeeds like success, as the old saying goes.
Yes.
So
that's
go
going to
get
do it for us
yourself
today. For real.
I'm on the way.
Okay, I like it. Well,
Trump
you need to
Burger
be back here for our show tomorrow.
That's right. Yeah, just in case.
Okay.
All right. We'll see you tomorrow. We got great financial information for you. Travis Chance says call him at CFG Wealth Management. Tell him you heard it here, and you can get a free consultation. No pitch, nothing. Just ask him any question you want to.